In today's video, the Lux Life brings you some of the richest directors of horror films. You can be sure that there's going to be an immense amount of wealth in this video. Let's start with number 10. Number 10. Mike Flanagan. Flanagan is a fairly hot topic these days with the recent release of A Haunting of Bly Manor. The series, which was picked up by Netflix, has been trending for the past week. Flanagan is also famous for directing A Haunting of Hill House, another Netflix series that also became hugely famous. He has come to be known as one of the recent contemporary horror movie directors who are making a name for themselves in Hollywood. You might also know him for directing Gerald's Game, yet another film in the horror category which helped boost his career and shoot him and his wife towards stardom in recent times. He graces our list at the number 10 spot with a net worth of $1 million.
Our Father who art in heaven.
He can't see this house, Father. If he could, none of us would still be here.
Number 9. Tobe Hooper. The late Tobe Hooper takes the number 9 spot on our list with a $60 million net worth. He is most famous for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, which has come to be known as one of the most prominent movies in the horror or slasher genre. Moreover, you may also have heard of the movie Poltergeist. He directed that as well in the early 80s. Unfortunately, Hooper passed away in mid-2017 from natural causes in his home in Los Angeles. He was 74 years old. Number 8. Stanley Kubrick. Though he's not commonly known as being a horror movie director, one of the most famous horror movies in pop culture was directed by the legendary Kubrick. We are talking about none other than The Shining. If you haven't watched the movie, you would have certainly seen the images of a deranged Jack Nicholson tearing a door down with an axe. Kubrick's net worth is somewhere around $20 million, and he is known as one of the most popular Hollywood directors of all time. He died in 1999 while shooting his final movie starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. Eyes Wide Shut would go on to gross millions and become one of his most popular movies. Unfortunately, he never got to see it mature.
Here's Johnny!
Before we continue, remember to subscribe to the Lux Life and click the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. Also, if you like this video, click the like button and share it with your friends. Number 7. Guillermo del Toro. At number 7, we have Guillermo del Toro. You may be familiar with some of his less horror works such as Hellboy, but he has certainly made his plays in the horror movie industry as a force to reckon with. He has also amassed a huge amount of wealth with his net worth of $30 million. Number 6. George Romero. George Romero comes into the list at the number 6 spot as one of the most prominent zombie movie directors of our time. You may know him for his Living Dead movies, which gross millions worldwide. He is most commonly known for his role as the producer for Night of the Living Dead. Not only is he one of the most prominent horror directors, but he is also a very wealthy man. With a fortune of $35 million to his name, he shows that it pays to be part of the horror movie industry. Zombie movies are some of the most liked genres of horror. Romero banked on that and shows how much it pays to give people what they want when you're in Hollywood. Number 5. John Carpenter. Carpenter is best known for his work on the Halloween series where the main character and villain was a big knife-wielding character named Michael Myers, not to be mistaken by Mike Myers, the comedian who voices Shrek. Halloween is a horror movie franchise that has grossed millions over the years and has added to Carpenter's personal wealth. Carpenter and his movies would set the tone several Halloweens in the decades to come, as children from around the world would imitate Michael Myers in the way that they dressed up. You can see why his net worth soared to a staggering $40 million. Number 4. Wes Craven. Wes Craven is best known for the horror franchise named A Nightmare on Elm Street. He has made his place in pop culture as one of the promoters for the characters Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. He is also known for his directorship of The Hills Have Eyes and its subsequent spin-offs. Unfortunately, Craven passed away in 2017, thus ending his illustrious career in some of the most famous horror movies of all time. He shares similarities with Carpenter in two aspects. His characters would become major symbols in pop culture, and they had nearly the same net worth. Craven surpasses Carpenter by a small margin of $1 million, this putting his net worth at around $41 million.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
We are now moving into the top 3 category and slowly moving towards that number 1 spot. Have you guessed who sits at the number 1 spot? Let's give you a hint before we move forward. Not only is his wealth well into the triple digits, but he is one of the most prominent writers of our time as well. Number 3. James Wan. Not only is he famous for the cult classic Saw, but he has also made his place in recent times with some of the most memorable horror films. Wan comes into our list in the number 3 spot with a net worth of $70 million. This makes him one of the richest horror directors in the world and one of the richest directors, period. In the last 10 years, he has worked on movies like Insidious, The Nun, Annabelle, and The Conjuring. As we know, these movies have become major names in the horror movie genre. We can see why they have made Wan a whopping amount of money. Number 2. Alfred Hitchcock. Most famously known as the director for one of the all-time classics, Psycho, Hitchcock made a name for himself in history as one of the most prominent movie directors of all time. Though he died at the age of 80 in 1980, he amassed a net worth of $200 million and still remains one of the wealthiest horror directors of all time. Finally, we have made it to the number 1 spot. At this point, it should come as no surprise who number 1 really is. We gave you a dead giveaway earlier, but now it is time for us to announce him. Number 1. Stephen King. King is known for all kinds of genres, especially playing a major role in horror. He has made countless classics that have not only made their place in the horror genre but in Hollywood as a whole. King is an immensely successful writer and director. This is probably why he has a net worth of $350 million to his name. He continues to write and direct and is one of the most famous writers and directors in Hollywood till date.
Hi, Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello?
Horror is a genre which has captivated our hearts like no other. There is so much thrill and excitement that comes with watching horror movies that one cannot get enough of it. For some of us with weaker hearts, it might not be your favorite, but for others who do enjoy it, there is nothing like it. Cozying up on the couch with your loved ones and watching a horror movie has a charm like no other. Therefore, we recommend that you consider watching some of the movies which these talented directors have created for your next movie night. The majority of them are cult classics which have made their name in Hollywood for the past 40 years. Check out which ones suit you best and tell us about them in the comments section below. If you like this video, make sure you share this with your friends and subscribe to Lux Life and click the bell icon to get regular updates. Lux Life. Find what calls to you.